Today I'm drawing Satoru. Excuse me. Today I'm drawing Gojo Satoru from Jujutsu Kaisen. I start by laying out the profile and overall proportions. Um, Profile views can be tricky because even smaller mistakes become noticeable quickly, especially because it's only his face, especially because like I was saying about iconic characters, there's a specific way that they'll appear that people would just be very it's very easy for people to identify. Maybe a person will say, oh, they have this many strands of hair clumped together, but they don't have to even know the number. They could just understand what it looks like. And if somebody is remotely able to draw somebody who looks like Gojo, people would probably say, oh, that looks like Gojo before they say that looks like anything else, even if that wasn't a picture of Gojo. But because there's such distinct things that cause him to become very highly noticeable, alongside him being an iconic character in iconic anime, to where if anybody is into anime and that's in their algorithm on social media, whether they're an artist or whether they're just looking at anime memes or anime literally reels that show highlight clips, that they're probably gonna there's if they see 100 reels, doesn't matter if it's art, doesn't matter if it's actual clips from an anime, doesn't matter if it's memes or pictures, there's a chance that there's gonna be many appearances of if there's any appearances of Jujutsu Kaisen, there's probably appearances of him. And because he can appear so much and people get so much exposure just for being aware of anime at all, to be able to see him and see him enough times, like, yo, yeah, it's kind of easy for them to tell if something looks off about him. The off could be that there's something, it could have to do with maybe the artist's skill level. So maybe the artist was trying to draw something, but maybe there's something off the art, or maybe they did something that was out of place enough on purpose because maybe that was their specific art style, or maybe they that's just naturally what they did, and people could tell, like, no, that's Gojo, but maybe there's something off, right? So, and that when I said small mistakes, it doesn't have to be a mistake. It could just be, let's not even use that word. There's things that I call out probably on a weekly basis. There's things that I call out about my art where I made, because I'm doing it in pen. So all these things I do in pen, they can come out looking actually really good, but there's actually mistakes I made, and I'll literally call that out in the sketch breakdown. I'll call out that I might not use the words, oh, I darkened over this and you can't see it, but there was like 3 different lines and I messed up on 2 of them, but I darkened over that and then use, like, not even shading, because I'm not really shading much, but I might have used outline of shading in a certain area, and that kind of went over the mistake line, so you didn't even see that. And it's not even a little trick, it's just me understanding, like, oh, well, I still got to finish drawing the character, and I end up drawing things that go over the mistakes. So it's like, the fact I'm doing this in pen and it comes out looking good and there's no erasing, it's not that every millisecond my pen touches the paper, everything is just coming out perfect. No, like, I am trying to be very tactful with making sure I'm doing everything properly, and then there's the drawing things in lighter, with less pressure, so it's a lighter line, and then I'm darkening the ones that I keep after it and stuff like that. But blah blah blah. All to say, sometimes not mistakes. Don't even call it mistake. You could even call it that you're getting better at drawing, and there's learning curves you go through. And let's say you would have just like how I draw things, and I don't erase. Literally, imagine you draw things and you just don't erase, and you just come up with whatever you drew, right? Whether you darken outer lines and that's the only thing that's showing or not, or whether you could tell that there was mistakes or not. Um, but what happens is like another, because like I don't like to use mistakes, not a negative word, because I mean for me I wouldn't call it negative. I just see it as like, oh, if there's something I wasn't aware of and I did it wrong, well, now I need to learn the lesson. Or if there's something that I got incorrect because of how well I can do something, like, oh, like how was my form when I did such and such technique, or if I tried to recall something, like let's say I was trying to learn something and I was trying to recall something I learned, maybe I didn't recall it properly, or um, maybe I'm trying to draw something exact, I don't get it exactly the way I wanted or the way I intended to. Like, well, yeah, that's actually a mistake, but at the same time, like, I'm not gonna tell you guys, oh, you're making a mistake. No, just call it. Well, you have yet to build a learning curve to do that with no effort, or have it exactly the way you want, and you just give it time and you'll get there. Like, um, it, I wasn't always drawing at the level I'm drawing at, and I'm putting in consistent effort and repetitions to where now I'm drawing at a level that I was not. There's levels that I could not draw at before that I'm drawing at now on a daily basis, and that's really all there is to it. Is I built up. And before, was I making mistakes? Yes, I call it that, but you don't have to even call it that when you're doing it. Use a positive word. Just say you were building up to whatever you intended to do. So if you draw something and it's not the way you wanted it, well, at least you kept building, and you're going through the repetitions that will turn you into this person that now you're actually doing it the way that the level that you wanted to do it on, and then it just keeps increasing. You might be doing it at an expert level, and now you're seeing, because now you're used to that, and you're advanced enough on a conscious of what you're consciously aware of doing, and on a subconscious level, there's now new things that you're seeing. So people could see your stuff. The majority of the You could be considered an expert at something, and majority of people could see what you're doing and think that they can't even see anything wrong with it. Like, they actually, no matter how hard they try, they can't see where any mistakes or issues were. But you can actually, you specifically, you might will see that expert level drawing that you just did and think that, oh, it's you might even say it's good, but you might still see a bunch of things that you could have done better, because it's based on what you're aware of, and that's you bridging the gap into your next level. Whether that's you consciously noticing things you had to improve on, or you're actually just automatically get better because you're just getting in so many reps that your muscle memory and your brain wiring and your coordination and your um, fine motor units coordinating into your hand from your from what you're seeing, and or what you're visualizing, or your reference or whatever. Like, you're all that coordination of actually being able to draw is building up better, right? So blah 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 about, oh, even small mistakes. There's mistakes, but there's nothing to worry about. It's good you're even recognizing them so you can build upon them. If that's what you see as a mistake, maybe it's not. Maybe you want to draw something in your own way. So a mistake could even be considered a choice. Like, it's not if you want your character to look a certain way, that's not actually a mistake. But if you wanted to look a certain way, then and you didn't do that, then maybe that's a mistake, and that's something to adjust. So art is very it's like, you don't know what direction the wind's gonna blow, and you throw a feather up in the air, and the feather will be highly sensitive to wind pressure going in random directions, and it's very free form. Just like when your hand hits a paper, you have to build up coordination to get out the exact image you want when you're putting your pen or pencil to a paper. And even more with the a side tangent. When it comes to you using your finger or a stylus on a screen, oh my goodness, I tried that for a while. The learning curve for that. See, I didn't up. There was a certain strategy I could have applied to improve on that, but I felt like my ability to do that at all was way slower than uh using a pen. Um, and you see people doing both using their hand or both using doing it digitally to a high level, but this the learning curve for digital is crazy. I don't know how it levels off. Like maybe it's very very difficult in the beginning, then it starts speeding up at certain phases. I don't know that. I think some of the initial learning curves with you doing it with your hand is it's slow if someone's not used to the process of having to spend quite a bit of time for days and weeks to actually see results, and maybe not even results that they would probably respect way too much for themselves, but like they'll actually at least see results, and then it slowly compounds and builds up with your skill level. I think drawing with your hand is like on paper. I think that there's more consistent feedback you'll see with how well you're doing. I think doing it with a stylus digitally, I think in the because I've only been into the beginning phases. Like I've gone like a few months of consistently trying to drill and draw stuff. But I wasn't using probably the best method to improve, but I was trying, like, practicing anatomy, practicing faces, practicing bodies, practicing people in different poses, starting with a stick figure and build. But I could have, there's other things I could have tried that probably would have yielded better results. So I have probably a biased take on that. Um, but yeah, so basically, um, yeah, so next I work on the facial structure and air placement before moving into the hair. Gojo's hairstyle is one of the more recognizable parts of the design, so I'm focusing on creating a strong silhouette. After I move into the high collar and clothing details, as the sketch develops, I strengthen major outlines and refine the proportions. Overall, I'm happy with how this one turned out. Let me know which anime character you'd like to see next, and thank you for watching.